Right, Martin, how you doing? You all right?
Yeah, good, thank you. Yourself?
Yeah, not bad, thanks, mate. Can I get the team news ahead of the game, please?
Yeah, so some of them have been in training today. Matilda Wimberg, Martha Thomas are back in training today. Ash Neville's back in training today. So they've had probably 2 or 3 days with us. And apart from the long-term absentees, Luana Bula, Ella Morris, Molly Bartrip, everyone else is good.
So far, so good?
Yeah, so far so good. 2 wins, 2 clean sheets. We probably couldn't have asked for much more.
Yeah. It's a new era, isn't it? It's a new era for the club, the men's and the women's team. Vinay is someone who's got a great reputation from Arsenal, bringing the Arsenal women's together with the men's. How much have you enjoyed working with Vinay? I know it's not been too long, but how much have you enjoyed it so far?
Yeah, really good. Very good interactions, very good conversations, very supportive of staff, players and the women's team more importantly, and has a really strong vision for where he wants to take this women's team, and I think he has a very good pedigree and a track record for doing that, and I have no doubt he'll do that here with the club.
Does it excite you even more? Because obviously a fresh start for you in terms of the club joining, but a new era for this football club. Daniel Levy was at this club for 25 years. Does it excite you, this new era?
Yeah, and I don't say it's a new era. It's just a continuation of what we've been doing. I think that's more important. Nothing's changed. It's business as usual, and we prepare for the games as we do, and no matter what, in terms of a good support around me from a leadership perspective, and I just focus on my day-to-day job and keep working towards the strategy and vision we have, and then more importantly making sure that we achieve and we perform, we win games.
Exciting game for you tomorrow night. Does it give you a sort of a barometer how far you are away from the likes of Manchester City?
No, not. I think you can look at it in 2 different ways. You can look at it from where the table lies most years, or you can look from a perspective of performance and that way, and I kind of look towards the performance side. I feel that when we perform on our day, we're competitive with most teams, and we know there'll be a difference in probably little bits of individual quality at times and moments of brilliance, which is natural in football. We have them players in our team too, but I think from a squad perspective, when 11v11 steps onto the pitch, our back was against anyone.
Before you were here, there did seem to be a gap between the likes of City, but you look at the training facilities you have, do you see a gap closing it? And is that one of the jobs you want to bring to this football club?
Yes, definitely. And that's something I've spoken about before. I think we have the resources, the facility, the staff and the leadership, the infrastructure around us to make sure that we can perform, and not just perform, we can train at optimum levels. More importantly, the players and staff get everything they need, and we'll always want more at times, but more importantly, I know we have everything here. And more importantly for me, it's to make sure the resources we have and the facilities we have, we maximise. And by maximising them, it gives us the potential to go and win games. So we leave ourselves with no excuses, more importantly.
Good luck.
Thank you.
That's Michael. We're going to move to questions on the online feed. Emma Sanders.
Hey Martin, nice to see you again.
Good, how are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. Before I get into Spurs, I just want to get your reaction, if you don't mind, on the Bristol City ownership news. The latest multi-club owners to take over a club in England. It feels like an exciting move for the club and for the game generally.
Obviously good luck to Bristol with that. Obviously the investment will obviously support them and help them, and we moved them. We played them in, I think, the Conti Cup in a few weeks, so I wish them the best of luck, and good for them in terms of getting the external investment.
Yeah, I hope they're not up to speed for that game, I'd imagine, from your point of view. You said before, 2 wins, 2 clean sheets. It's been a perfect start for you, really, at Spurs. Do you think people underestimated you at the start of the season in the summer?
No, not me personally anyway, but maybe the team. It's nothing to do with me. The players do the work. I just stand there as their coach. But more importantly, no, I think maybe after last year, you'd probably say it's if people looked at last season, I wouldn't argue with people maybe thinking that, but having the hands-on experience of working with these players every day and over the last 7 weeks, I think has shown me that there's a lot more to come from the group. I think we've shown steps of that and development of that in 2 performances over the last 2 wins. But more importantly, I'm not deluded enough to know that we still have steps to take and we still have a lot of work to do. So we'll keep our feet grounded, more importantly, and make sure that we continue to help the group grow.
Yeah, the setup of the teams look quite different in the first 2 games. Brian Sorensen has just said that you set up really differently against them. They weren't expecting it. Can you tell us what it is, maybe break down what it is that you changed against Everton, and maybe are you looking to change again this weekend?
I think more importantly, there's a game plan and there's a way we play in terms of looking at the game, in terms of individual aspects, but the core principles and foundations don't change. And I don't think there was a big shift in terms of from West Ham to Everton, really. Maybe in some aspects there was, but I wouldn't say there was a big shift in it. Maybe we changed a little bit of the defensive organisation in moments to set more traps, but I don't think we changed much in terms of the principle and concepts we look at. But maybe it caught Everton off guard a little bit, but I thought in that game we were brilliant from start to finish. We had some moments where we rode our luck, which you have to, but I thought throughout the course of the game, I thought we were well deserving of the win.
Everyone's been talking about Tinker's goal this weekend as well. Does she do it in training often?
She does, yeah.
Did he tell her off and shoot?
No, I think. No, I think more importantly for me, I think it was actually in that week she done it in training. And that wasn't something tactical, by the way, that we looked at, because you'd be a genius to say if it did. But naturally as a forward, and I think I said it after the game, centre forwards have that instinct of maybe when the ball turns over, and now with the way modern football's gone, Emma, the goalkeepers are playing a lot higher and they're involved a lot more in that build-up phase. And Katinka's obviously recognised that in terms of the height of the goalkeeper, and when it's turned over, she hasn't thought twice. So yeah, I think I've seen her do that before in training. I've seen her do it when she was in Sweden too. She's done the same. So more importantly, it's when those things arise and she goes for it, you can't take away the bravery and courage to do that, because then you probably lose that little bit of kind of creativity and instinct she has. So if she does it and she scores, brilliant. If she doesn't score, fine. Like it's still the same situation, because if it comes off once, it probably can come off again. Thank you. Good to speak to you.
Rachel?
Hi, Martin. Well, ask a little bit about what you've made of Manchester City's start of the season and how you think they could, what kind of threats
Yeah, I think they're obviously a different coach, maybe brings a different style and a different kind of organisation with them. They're playing as maybe a slightly different structure a little bit in terms of how they build up, and from the defensive side of the game, they're a little bit different too, but they pose obviously high threats. I've seen their games recently, and they still have the players don't change, even though the manager changes. And I think more important, they have a high level of quality within that team, and they have a very good attacking threat individually. And when collectively they put the football together, they're one of the best teams in the UK. So I know that it's going to be a tough game, but more importantly, I back our players and the team to make sure that we're competitive, and I believe we can cause them problems when we get in the right areas.
on target? So the only other team that's happened is Manchester City. The way both of you played this season, doesn't feel like we're going to be saying that at the end of this game. Would that be fair to say, given how much you guys kind of defend from the front, if you like?
Yeah, I think you can look at it both ways from the shot perspective in terms of is it the opposition, is it us the team? I actually think in the first game we were a little bit too wide open. I think second game we were a lot more connected and organised in terms of how we pressed and how we defended. We're obviously defending a lot more front-footed, so we're looking to regain a little bit higher, and different games will give us different situations to look at. So yeah, both teams have done really well, and more importantly for me, it's making sure that then when we have our opportunities on goal, like we did in the last game, I think we had 19 shots and 8 on target, and I think Chris reminded me when we finished the game last time that we had 1 shot on target from the penalty. So yeah, we had those chances in the second game from that. So both sides, I look at both. We want to defend well and not concede the shot, but also when we do have the shots, we want to make sure we're taking those opportunities.
All right, best of luck. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, and we'll go to Chris.
Hi Martin, nice to talk to you.
How are you?
Are you surprised by the start that you've had? Because I'm going to ask this because the last time Spurs Women won 2 WSL games nearly 2 years ago, back in October 2023.
Yeah, I think you can look at it from two perspectives. I'm not surprised because I see the work, I see the efforts and the commitment to the players and the passion of the players when they're training. I know that no player goes onto the pitch wanting to underperform. No team goes on the pitch wanting to underperform. But more importantly, since I've been here, I've seen a really hard-working group and a really committed group. And I knew about that record before we started the season in terms of when the clean sheets were, when we last won back-to-back. And it's a long time for this football club to be in that position. And hopefully while I'm here now, that won't happen again in terms of making sure that we're consistent with performances. And yeah, we'll have dips at times, but more important, we need to make sure we eradicate some of these historic things in terms of these records that we have. So yeah, my job is to make sure we perform and make sure that more importantly we continually break down the game. But when we break down the game, make sure we're at a consistent level, as I said.
It looks like Grace Clinton, of course, former Tottenham Hotspur player, would make the Manchester City debut on Friday. What did you make of her move from United to City?
No, Grace is a wonderful player, and whatever Grace chooses to do, she chooses to do for her own career. And I think if she feels that's the right one for her development, then brilliant. But I've worked with Grace for numerous years while I was at Everton, worked with her at Manchester United too, and yeah, wonderful player, super talented, and more importantly, we have to make sure that we stop Grace if we come up against her on Friday.
Martin, lastly from me, of course, games are coming thick and fast now. 6 games in the next 30 days. 4 in WSL and 2 in the League Cup. I'm sure there'll be a lot of rotation.
Yeah, well, when the rotation is necessary, yes. More importantly, I want to make sure we're competitive and we're going to each game going to win it. I'm not here to finish second and not here to lose a game. I want to win everything, and I'll put out the best team that I feel is going to execute the game plan. And if that involves rotation, If it doesn't, it doesn't. But more importantly, I want to make sure that we build confidence and self-belief in this team, and we build momentum in terms of a winning mentality. And more importantly, we have to do that by being competitive and, more importantly, winning games.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Dan Pentland.
Hi, Dan. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks. Just going back to some of the stuff you were speaking to Chris about records, and obviously, you know, the club not winning games towards the end of last season. I just wonder, when you kind of came in on day one, did you have to kind of pick the girls up? Did you have to kind of change mentality, that sort of thing? And has there been kind of noticeable changes from when you first went into the dressing room to when, you know, you're going in week day in, day out now?
Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head, Dan. Yeah, there was a lot of work to do to pick them up. Confidence, self-belief, 100%. There was a kind of, there's now shoulders up and chests out, and we're kind of in a position now where we kind of go into games expecting to compete and wanting to win, and maybe previously we had to lift that confidence, which is natural from a group that's finished 11th. So yeah, there's been a lot of that pick me up, but actually, more importantly for me, the players' character to want to step out on that field and want to train hard and want to work hard is more important. And they have a very clear focus on building that psychology and that performance together. And more importantly, we have to do that to make sure that when we do face adversity, that we're able to respond to it and deal with it. And more importantly, cope with that. But when we have big moments, we're able to enjoy them. So more importantly, it's making sure that we can get the blend between performance and psychology. And if we get that, I think we'll put ourselves in a good place.
Just want to ask you about Eleanor Heaps, because obviously she's been at Spurs for quite a while now. She's obviously had to go out and kind of develop elsewhere, you know, the Championship, that sort of thing. With Becky going in the summer, I suppose she's one step closer to where she wants to be. So, you know, what have you made of her in your first few weeks in the job, and how do you feel she's progressing?
Yeah, I think I worked with Ellen in the back at Liverpool when I was there, so I know her as a player and as a person, more importantly. And yeah, she's making big steps under Chris, the goalkeeping coach, and she's taking the steps she needs to take necessary. And as I said, those loans for Eleanor were probably vital for her experience and an opportunity for her to mature as a player. And now, obviously, she's behind Lisa now here at this moment. But more importantly, I wanted to push and challenge Lisa to make sure that she can stay on her heels, which is important, because I don't want someone just to sit in behind the first choice goalkeeper and kind of accept that. I want them to kind of push the boundaries as much as they can. And Eleanor's doing that now in training. And when the opportunity presents itself for her to play, then she just needs to take that with both hands.
Thanks for that, Martin.
Thanks, Dan. Thank you. Take care.
Jacob?
Hi, Martin.
Hi, Jacob.
You mentioned before about the kind of differences in shots on target in the first 2 games. Obviously, 10 shots on target on the weekend, but only 1 in that first game. How much do you kind of analyse data both post and pre-match?
Yeah, important. I think pre-match, yes. Post-match, yes. But I don't dive into it too much, because sometimes data doesn't always give you the perspective of how the games maybe went. So trying to look at maybe the performances and look at it probably with a finer tooth comb, if I'm honest, in terms of how we've tried to approach the game and what we've tried to look at within the game, and if those stats tell me that we've actually been doing that or we haven't. Obviously, naturally, everyone looks towards shots, possession, and so on, and maybe just look a little bit differently towards the principles of how we play, and that will dictate what the outcome is on the stats. But I think over the course of the 2 games, the first game we kind of had shots in and around the area, but we didn't really test the goalkeeper. And then I think in this game against Everton, we were a lot more precise and a lot more fine-tuned with the finishing phase, and we had numerous opportunities on goal. Probably should have scored more if we're being harsh. But actually what I asked of the players was, when we're in and around the area, to be more kind of proactive with that, in terms of it doesn't always have to be the forwards who are taking them shots. And are we getting ourselves in those positions to finish, more importantly? I think we did in the Everton game more often than not.
Thank you. And we've seen Josephine Ryburn play a right back this season. Last year we maybe saw her play more as a centre back, or even fill in defensive midfield sometimes as well. How important has Josephine's performance has been in the first 2 weeks, both from a defensive perspective but also in terms of her versatility?
Yeah, I think it's important for any player. I think the way modern football's gone now, you can't pigeonhole someone into one position, because I feel you limit their skill set and probably their development, which, more importantly for me, I want to make sure every player develops consistently. And Josephina, alongside that backline, has been brilliant. They've kept 2 clean sheets. She's defended well. Maybe it's been a bit unorthodox for her in that position, but actually, when you break down that position for her, it probably helps her understand and probably see football in a different way and see that position in a different way. And more importantly, her ability with the ball is really good. She's calm, she's composed, and she's very selective with how she plays and plays forward. And then defensively, she's got a bit of experience behind her, more importantly, but also she's aggressive when she's up close, and she's very switched on in terms with the tactical side of the game. So it's just making sure, more importantly, we can continue to help her develop and evolve. But yeah, she's had a big impact in those 2 clean sheets, and also in the 2 results in terms of going forward.
Thank you. And finally from me, you spoke before on the attacking threat of Man City. In the last 3 seasons, Bunny Shaw's scored 12 goals against Tottenham. Is there anything, obviously Spurs have kept 2 clean sheets in the first 2 games, is there anything you're planning on changing defensively to try and stop Bunny Shaw?
No, I think everyone knows when they play against Bunny Shaw, she's a wonderful forward. She scores a lot of goals. She's physically very dominant and very good finishing around the box. And we just have to make sure that the game plan in place prevents that. More importantly, we don't just have the focus on her, because they have a breadth of talent within that squad. So more importantly, what can we do to try and nullify her threats in terms of her strengths? And more importantly, how can we isolate in terms of those from the team context and focus on that an individual? But it's the same for the other players in that team. So yeah, I won't just focus on Bunny Shaw. We respect that she's a wonderful player, but we'll also try and find how we isolate her strengths within our game plan. Thank you.
Brandon?
Hi Martin, hope you're well. I just wanted to ask about, the first 2 games, you're sort of quite even on possession and stuff like that. How has it been going into this game, where you're sort of expected to have less of the ball than you'd like? Have you done anything differently in preparation?
No, nothing. And I'll never go into a game, Brandon, thinking that we're going to just surrender the ball for anyone, and that's not my mindset, and it definitely won't be my mindset while I'm at this club. We're good enough to have the ball, and we'll contest possession. More importantly, we want to have the ball, so we'll have to be brave with that, but we'll have to be very precise when we do use the ball. So yeah, we're not just going to surrender it, and Manchester City might have some of the ball at the same time, but I'm not going to be someone who just surrenders it for anyone. So yeah, if they want possession, they're going to have to fight for it.
Man City are strong all over the pitch, especially in the midfield, especially the last few games as well. But Evelina's Soumania and Drew Spence, apologies for the pronunciations. They've been good in your midfield. How important do you think that area of the pitch will be tomorrow?
Yeah, I think the centre of the pitch is closest to the goal, so we have to make sure we defend that efficiently. More importantly, yeah, we know they have threats in the middle of the pitch as well as they do everywhere else, but we're also a threat ourselves. And yeah, Evelina and Drew have done exceptionally well in there alongside Beth, and We want to make sure that more now, moving forward, we put ourselves in a position where we can be competitive in that area of the pitch, and we have been. And yeah, we just have to not, more importantly, focus on what they're going to do, but focus on how we're going to stop it and apply ourselves correctly in that game. So yeah, I have an eye on the opposition 100%, and I respect them as players, but I have to make sure that we focus on ourselves and how we're going to apply ourselves.
And just finally, going on what Jacob was saying about the right back situation, I remember after the West Ham game, you kind of said you were going to take that kind of game by game. I know you just spoke about how impressive Josephine has been, but is that still kind of up for grabs for possibly Aria Dennis or Charlotte Grant to come into that position?
Yeah, it depends on characteristics, Brandon. I don't look at, as I said, every coach is different, and we all look at the game different. And I don't look at she's just a right back because she's played right back, and she's just a centre back because actually then you isolate too many individual skills from the player. And Josephina, people probably didn't expect her to play right back because she's never played there. But actually the characteristics and her skill makeup enable her to play in that position for what I want to do. Alongside Araya Dennis, Charlie Grant, Ash Neville, there's a lot of them in that position that can play there, and it's whatever characteristics I feel are going to suit the game plan that I will make sure that player gives me that skill set will go into that position. And I think that's what enables the team to be competitive, more importantly, but also enables us to be a little bit more unpredictable.